And welcome to another edition of the UIS Prairie Stars Coaches Show. I am Tony Black. Joining me today is Jesse Miech of the UIS men's soccer team. Jesse, first season, what'd you learn?
Well, a lot of different things, starting a new team. I look at it as almost starting from scratch with the number of players we had and learning, the characteristics of the guys that were here, new guys coming in, and also how good the GLVC was and the Division II level, since this is my first time being at this level as a coach.
The season, you started off with the 7-2 loss at Oakland City.
Yep.
You finally got a tie later in the season. What were those first few weeks like for you?
Well, it was a building process because, we had first few weeks were really good for us as a team in practice preseason, and then we go off and we play Evansville in a exhibition match, Division I team, and did fairly well. We hung with them for the first half. They're playing everybody. We're playing everybody. Left that game 4-0, so we were pretty happy with that. And then we get in our first regular game and we lose 7-2, Oakland City. They had some really good players, and it was a roller coaster. I think it was good that we went through that early on, and it helped us out, during the longer stretches of the season. But overall, just being able to deal with some different types of pressures. But it was a building process, and I think every game we learned, and it was good for the team. And it's just a little bit too bad that we didn't learn from some of the mistakes we learned. Basically, early on with that 7-2 loss, we did some things that we fixed, and then they kind of came back later on in the year.
Talk about the things that you learned as a head coach. Kids quitting randomly in the middle of the year. How you dealt with that as a coach?
Yeah, I think we brought a large number of players in, and it's kind of a situation where I'm not going to say it's expected, but it's not something that is not on regular, I guess. If you'd say for new coach to come in, third coach 3 years, there's a lot of players that are kind of questioning what's going on with the program, and kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you'll get that with any team when you have that many players. I think we started out with 27. A few kids dropped off, and it wasn't like a negative, where they didn't like what was going on with the team. I think, I ran things a little bit differently. There was new kids in here, and it was very competitive, and some kids, decided that it just wasn't for them, and, those guys that dropped off are still, they come around to the locker room during, pregame stuff, and they hang out afterwards, after the game, and they talk to our players. So there's no bad vibes, but, learning, myself or the team, the transition period, that you're going to get that drop-off when you go through these transitions. And, it's my job to bring stability to this program and let the guys know what I'm about, how I run practice. Players get kind of a culture going, like I mentioned, when we sat here 7 months ago talking about how I wanted to coach the team, and, just getting a consistency with everything within the program. And that's how we're going to, keep players around and make it a great learning environment and a competitive environment for them going forward with their careers.
Talk about your 3 assistant coaches that helped you out tremendously this year.
Yeah, I've got a good staff. Adam Lanter, Cody Cother, and Milt Tenen. I think Adam Lanter was a player at SIUE when they were in the GLVC. Great player. I know. Played at a very high level. Played in a few Final Fours, Elite Eights. And he came in here after working with me at Scott Gallagher and did a fantastic job. Cody Cother was already here when I got here. He's a player at Bradley, does a lot of individual training, soccer-wise, and also is a personal trainer. So he brings that aspect as far as the conditioning, weights, plyos, stuff like that. And then Milt Tenen, he wasn't around as much as he was in the past, as he was an assistant coach. He picked up a more full-time position where he works, but he was more of a father figure and also help us, connection with the alumni.
And you had an alumni day during homecoming. What was that like to meet the alum of the national championship team of the '88 squad?
It was really cool. We had a number of guys come back, and it's my goal to get more of those guys around our program on campus and getting more involved. But we had a few guys, Chris Owsley, Sam Tate, guys that are here in town that I'm really trying to build a base to come and help support us more in the future, because I think they've kind of dropped off in the past. Just because, 3 coaches, you lose connections with past players, and we're trying to build that, and seeing those guys come back, and then, Ian Donaldson came back at halftime to support Kair Haji during Parents' Day and stuff like that. It's great to have those guys around the program where they're influencing myself as a coach, knowing past traditions, and then, the players see it, and they know kind of, the traditions, and kind of feel that they're playing for just more than that year, but they're playing for all the years, all the players that have been here in the past, and we want to try to get that to surround our program a little bit more. One
of the best moments of your season is Jack Taranchik possibly scoring a goal against Wisconsin Parkside in the final seconds. Was that thrilling to see, since you're a former goalie, a goalie possibly score a goal there?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's one of those things. It's a Hail Mary play where, it's a corner kick, throw the goalkeeper up, or you pull the goalie in hockey, whatever it is, and a kid to step up and get his head on the ball and put it in the back of the net. That's great, and I say you don't see it very often, but we had a recruit on campus who was a goalkeeper who actually saw that, and I went and watched him play the following weekend, and he did the same thing, and I just kind of chuckled when I was talking to his parents, a week later on the phone, and the same thing happened, to a kid in a similar position, because you don't see that very often, and when it is, it's kind of cool. It brings up the morale of the team, and then, it's tough for field players, because I was a goalkeeper, and as goalkeepers, you just sit back there and you never really get to get involved in goal scoring, and you always give, forwards, a hard time. Like, if I was up there, I could score. Well, then a goalkeeper goes off and does it. You're never going to hear the end of it. But it's a really cool situation for Jack and for our team.
It seemed like that the team really rallied around Jack after he might have got his head on that one. Yeah,
I think it's an exciting time. I think they would have rallied around anybody who scored the goal, just because there's 14 seconds left to tie the game up against, a pretty good team that kind of gave us a good game the previous year. And it kind of was a time where that really showed our improvement. It was our first time we got a point as far as on the win-loss column. And, it's not a characteristic of a soccer game where a goalkeeper scores. So it's just an exciting moment.
In Northern Kentucky, you guys had a lead down into the final 20 minutes. What was that feeling like as the seconds were ticking down, that you could possibly win this thing, but that red card that they had really kind of woke them up, I thought?
Yeah, I think, defending national champions, we're up 1-0 on them. It's a great feeling. Our guys were playing good. It wasn't like we were holding off like a barrage of just shot after shot. I mean, they were getting chances. We were getting some here and there. We could have put a few away. But I think the main thing with it was we were in the game. We were up 1-0. They get a red card. And it happens in soccer a lot where, a team will get a red card and, their formation will switch and will open up a field a little bit more for them, because there's one less player in the field. And you see it every once in a while where a team will actually get better when they take a player off. Like you said, it wakes them up. Guys are a little bit more sharp. They have to move the ball a little bit more. And, it was more on our part where we made 2 big mistakes that we worked on all year. One of them being we coughed up a ball in the midfield, and they just came down straight at us, scored a goal. And the other one was, pretty good free kick where a guy just got inside, one of our guys, and put a good, free kick in, and they punched it home. So it was two, I would say, more mental errors on our part. But you leave the game going, we just played a very good team, and we stuck with them. And it's just too bad. It's kind of the story of our season where, we just made a few mistakes here and there, and good teams are going to capitalize on us. When they do that, and that's the difference between the good teams and the ones that are just okay. The good teams will punish you for your mistakes, and there are a lot of good teams in this conference.
What are your hopes for next year?
I look at it as far as, baby steps in what we're doing, from here today all the way until that first game next year, where, we got our first kind of returning class meeting where our seniors that graduated, this year are not involved. So we're starting that new era, I guess, of players, and going into next season where we've got to be fit. We've got to make the players we have better than what they are, and still team chemistry. With team meetings that go over with players, we've been together 7 weeks. And it's kind of, you look at it, this season we have no wins, and we're going to be judged all the way, well, 2011, 2012 season is going to be judged off of 6 weeks, 7 weeks of us being together. So is it fair? Probably not, but that's the game. That's our sport, being in the fall. So we got to know that there's a lot of building going on with the team we have still this year. And then we have to bring guys in at key positions as far as center backs, a forward, and then a few guys to replace the guys that graduated. So looking forward to next year is bringing in, some players to add on the strengths we already have.
And you get another chance to get the team together during the spring season.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, not your championship season, but what do you do during the spring season?
Well, right now it starts. Next week, we're trying to get baselines on all the guys as far as testing, so we really know where they're at coming in after Christmas and see how much they improve on the physical side, fitness, strength, things like that. Try to keep it light all the way up until March, where we start getting back in our 20 hours a week. But right now, it's more of letting the guys focus on their academics, get back to enjoying the game, because I think they really enjoyed, practice and everything like that, but it's not fun when you don't win, and you kind of get beat up all the time. So getting back, just playing small-side games, a lot of soccer, tennis, a lot of pickup soccer, and then, really focus on the technical side of the game, and then go hard back at it strong like we did in the fall once March comes around.
You and I were talking about your team has played the FIFA 2012 as a team building thing. Did you get involved in that at all?
I did not. I think it's not something that I have time for. And I remember when I was in college, that was a big thing, to kind of blow off steam, was sit in your room with all your buddies and just play FIFA. For me, I think it was like, FIFA 06, whatever it was. That was like the newest one out when I was almost, being a junior, senior. But I didn't get involved with the tournament. Our guys, I guess there's a few guys that are really good on the team, and some of the other guys aren't. So I think the big thing is when recruits come in, they get involved, and it's always like, the big talk is like, wow, coach, he was really good at FIFA. And like, well, maybe that's not a reason why we recruit him, But the FIFA tournament was pretty cool. Adam Lanter actually set it up. We got brackets and rules and all that stuff. So it's just a little something extra to bring the guys together. So. Cool.
I think you should have got into it. I think
I'm not very good at video games. I was more of a a strategy type person. It wasn't like Dungeons and Dragons or anything, but it was more like Lux Deluxe, interactive Risk, and stuff like that. Those were my type of games, but that's just what I like.
Northern Kentucky leaving the league this coming school year, replaced with McKenzie. What are your thoughts? Now that the regular season is over and for next conference season.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky leaving Bellarmine, or is it Bellarmine? No, it's not Bellarmine.
Kentucky Wesleyan's leaving in 2 years.
Kentucky Wesleyan, okay. Well, it's that shift going in and out. We'll still have 16 teams in the conference, 15 games. Where Northern Kentucky leaves and McKenzie comes in, they're a good team. So it's not like we're getting a team that comes in that's not going to be at this level. They will be. Northern Kentucky, it's bittersweet, I guess. Kind of glad they're leaving because they're such a good team. But at the same time, you don't want good teams to leave your conference. I mean, you want those games, you want those teams to be representing your conference in postseason play and getting the national ranking. So, I guess it goes both ways. I'd rather not see them leave, but they are. But it's not like there's a huge change as far as numbers switch. I don't think we're going like an East and West anytime soon. But it's going to be same business as normal. I don't think there's going to be much change. It's just we're losing a very good team to our conference.
Have you, since the conference tournament has started, have you paid attention to that at all?
Yeah. Rockhurst being the number 1 seed and going in there, and they were a team that I thought we played against very well. And they go in there. I think they beat. Was it? Who I know Northern Kentucky lost. Indianapolis lost, which I thought was a very good team at the PKs. Missouri S&T lost. So I think it's Drury, Quincy, Rockhurst, and I don't know who's the 4th team. But it's that top 8 teams are so good, and the games can go back and forth, anyway. But I look for Rockhurst to really, make a run in the tournament. And there's some other teams as well, but I think the Rockers is going to be my pick just because they're so solid on defense. They're not a flashy team. They just do things right. Tony Toko's there. He's been there forever, and he always puts together a quality program. And I just think they have the right pieces right now. They don't have anything flashy. They're just a very honest team, and that's what it takes to win championships.
Speaking of Tony Toko, also the Quincy coach, Jack McKenzie, been here forever. Is that your goal to be here until you're an old man?
I want to be here as long as I can be. Stability is something that I've talked about. With what this program needs. Now, as far as my future goals, right now is to be as successful as I can be, but with the highest goal of winning a national championship. And I think with myself being at a younger age, as a head coach being 30, that my goals are to win a national championship, and I'll probably be here as long as it takes for me to win one of those.
And how is the recruiting process going? Have you getting ready to sign people here in coming February?
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty far away still. I mean, February, it seems like it's just right around the corner. But the kids that I'm going after are pretty high level, and I think that's what's going to take to raise the level of this team, is to go after kids that are getting recruited by Division I schools, other schools within our conference, and kids that have a lot of options. So right now, it's kind of a waiting game where we've already brought in a handful of kids on visits, and I still have a handful of kids to bring in. But right now, there are some offers out there as far as roster spots and things like that. But the way I explain it, I'm going after very high-level kids. I'm looking to bring in anywhere from 8 to 12 players, and the type of kids I'm going after, I probably have to recruit 15 kids for every one kid that's going to come here. So it's a huge process, and during the recruiting process as a coach, you either get kids early, you get kids right on time, right at signing date, or you get kids late. And I think it's going to be a little bit tough to get kids earlier. And when I say early, I mean in the next few weeks. We might land a few kids in the next few weeks, but I think it's more going to be guys are weighing out all their options because they have them, and it's going to be more of looking later into the semester where we're going to get some of those commitments, and they'll come. It's just going to take some time.
Is that one of the most frustrating things as a coach, is to wait for the kid to say yes or no for you?
I don't know, it's exciting as a coach because, you're building your program and you get excited about players, and I think they feel it on the phone when you're talking to them, and I think that's what sells it when you're really into somebody. And I always tell them, when they're looking at a bunch of schools, I always say it's good to be loved, and when you're talking to them, you just, man, I want this kid in my program. I think he'd help us out on the field and off the field, great character and stuff like that. It can be frustrating at times, but when I'm talking to the recruits, I go, basically, I hope to have a career that's going to be 30 years of being a head coach somewhere. And I go, across my career, I'm going to recruit thousands upon thousands of kids, and I'm going to be told no thousands upon thousands of times. I go, it's part of it. It's part of the game. You can call it a business if you want. It's a little bit a harder way to put it, but it's part of it where kids are going to make decisions. They're going to tell you they don't want to be a part of their program for any number of different reasons. They're going to tell you they want to be a part of your program. Some guys you think that you don't have a chance, you'll get them. Some guys you think that they should be a shoo-in. They should come here. We got their major. It's affordable. It's close to home, and then they go somewhere else. And you never know what's going through a player's mind, the parent's mind, because there's so many different reasons why a player chooses to come to school or not. So I don't get caught up in it too much because I got to stay level. Even keel. If your day-to-day happiness of your program and your team is on players that are not here yet, you can go on the up and down of the roller coaster day to day. And where I get my sanity is with my players that are already here, because they're guys that I'm going to depend on. I know they're going to be here next year. They're the ones who are putting in the work ethic and time and stuff like that. So I try not to get my emotions caught up too much with players that are not a part of the team yet. But it is exciting going after them.
All right, I want to thank you, Jesse, for joining us today. I'm Tony Black. So long.